All right, so we're going to look at 1.6 relations. Okay, this is relations between a set of numbers, and we're going to build on this. I know we've been talking about expressions, equations, distributed property, and now all of a sudden we're switching to relations. They'll all come back together in 1.7. So again, this is 1.6 relations. Our goal: represent a relation and interpret graphs of relations. That's basically our goals. Two simple goals here. Relations is a pretty simple and easy concept. All right. So the first thing we need to look at is we need to look at what's called the coordinate system. Because as I said in our goals, we're going to be looking at graphs. So we just need to make sure we remember our coordinate system. It's known as our coordinate plane. Coordinate system is formed by the intersection of two number lines and horizontal and vertical axis. So if you look, the vertical axis is what's called your y-axis. And your horizontal axis, which is this one, this is your x-axis. And I've got them both labeled. I do recommend that you do draw a coordinate plane. You don't have to draw the grid. So if you were drawing out a coordinate plane on your paper, I would just draw your y-axis, I would draw your x-axis, and then label them. So I'd label this x, label this y, boom, and then also know that you have your origin. So I'd label your origin and know that it's the point 0, 0. Another thing we need to make sure we remember, okay, this upper right-hand quadrant, this is quadrant 1. And then we go counterclockwise. So this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Okay, understanding your quadrants is something that's very good to know. Quadrant 1, our values are positive, positive. Quadrant 2, negative, positive. Quadrant 3, negative, negative. And quadrant 4 is positive, negative. And you may be thinking, wait, what does that mean? Well, if you remember, all ordered pairs are written x, comma, y. Okay, where the first number tells us how far left and right we're going on the x-axis, and the second number tells us how far up and down we go on the y-axis or vertical. So let's just plot a random point. So let's say if I have to plot the point 5, comma, negative 3. So if I'm plotting the point 5, negative 3, my x value is 5, so I started my origin, I go over to 5 on the x, and my y value is negative 3, so I'm going to stay here at 5, and I'm going to go down 3, right here, and that is my ordered pair. That's the ordered pair 5, 3. Now sometimes we label them with a variable. If there is no variable to label it with, we just draw the dot, and we can definitely tell it's 5, negative 3. So this is our coordinate system, our coordinate plane. Make sure you understand how we graph points. We're going to be dealing with graphing quite a bit. All right, so we do have a couple words that we want to look at defining. All right, the first word is a relation. It's a set of ordered pairs. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a little bit. So a relation is a set of ordered pairs. The next word we want to talk about is domain. The domain is the set of first numbers of the ordered pairs. So basically your domain is your x values. They are also your independent variable. The big thing I want you to focus on is your domain is your x value. Your range, so I bet you can guess, is the set of second numbers of the ordered pairs, or it is your y value and your dependent variable. And again, we want to focus on y value. Right? So these are the three words we want to really focus on. I'm going to use them a lot. I'm going to use relation, I'm going to use domain, and I'm going to use range. So make sure we get those written down. You may have needed to pause the video so you can get the definitions written down. So let's look at an example. Representations of a relation. So if you look here, we have a set of ordered pairs. So these are what's called a relation. We want to label them as a table, a graph, and a map. All right, and so I've got them all set up for you. So the first one, this is our table. So you'll be creating these. Tables are written as an XY, kind of looks like a T-chart. So we just basically go through and we write them down. So our X is 4, the matching Y value is 3. Our next X is -2, our matching Y value is -1. Our next value is 2, our matching Y value is -4. And our last X value is 0, and our matching Y value is -4. So creating a table, ideally you try to put it in numerical order on your X values, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Next is our graph. So basically what we do is we graph the relation. So we're going to graph each ordered pair, 4, 3. We go over 4, up 3, -2, -1, -2, down 1, 2, -4, 0, -4, and we plotted our 4 points. The last is what's called our map. And if you remember, domain is our X values, range is our Y values. So here what we do is we write down our domains in numerical order. So -2, 0, 2, 4. And then we write down our ranges. And we try to do it in numerical order. -4, well, since there's 2 -4s, I only have to really put 1 -4. And you'll see why in a second. And then we go -1, and then we go 3. And the reason it's called mapping, we draw arrows to show which domain is connected with the range. So -2 goes to -1. See here, 0 goes to -4. 2 also goes to -4. So from 2, we're going to draw another arrow up to -4. And then 4 goes to 3. So these are the 3 things we do to represent a relation, right? We take the relation, which is a set of ordered pairs, and we draw them out as an XY table. We graph them, and then we create a map. And sometimes with maps, what you'll see is you'll see like a circle around these numbers, and then the lines go to them. So you may see maps like that with the circles. Sometimes they're not with the circles, but we do have to have the arrows that show the relation. All right. So now that we did one together, I bet you can guess, we're going to do one on our own. All right. So on your own, hopefully you got this as your table. You have your XY table. Remember, we match our X value with our Y value. This one we list every single one out, even if they repeat. Our graph, hopefully you graphed your points like so. So you should have 4 points here, kind of almost in a zigzag pattern. And then for our map, we have our domain and range. And remember, we try to list them in numerical order from least to greatest. And remember, if we have any repeat numbers, we don't list the repeats. And it happened to be in the example we did together and on your own, it happened to be in the range. But if it happens in the domain, same thing. You don't write repeat numbers. You just write the single one and you use your map arrows to complete this. Okay? So again, check to see if you did the same thing. I forgot to tell you guys to pause your recording to do your on your own. Hopefully you guys saw the on your own and paused it. All right. So that is our lesson for the day. If you have any questions after the video, make sure you do ask them when there is time to ask questions.